being a property developer can really suck. When you've got a job, you work for a week, you get paid for the week, you work for the day, you get paid for the day. When you're doing development, you get paid nothing. You're actually forking out money. You know, you're paying for subscriptions, for software, you're paying for stamp duty, you're paying for holding costs, you're paying for land tax, all these things on sites when you haven't even made a dime, right? Haven't even turned the soil, right? Paying for council applications, town planners, engineers, consultants, up to the razoo, architects, builders, and you haven't made a cent. So everybody else gets paid first. Everybody else gets paid first. And that can be, you know, a 12-month, 18-month, 24, 36-month journey, if not longer at times, right? You don't get paid up front. You get paid right at the end after everybody else gets paid. Even the real estate agent gets paid before you do. If you're wanting to quit your job and jump into this game and expect to make millions straight away, look, as a beginner, yeah, I think you're dreaming. As a beginner, I think you're dreaming. It does take years and years of training, preparation, learning, mistakes, experience to really grasp it and then make the cash flow work from a development point of view. The second thing is developments take time. The really profitable ones aren't turned over in 90 days, 180 days, even in 12 months. Generally, the profitable ones, the bigger ones, you're talking making 500 grand, $1 million, you're talking a minimum 18 months, right? 18 months, 24 months, 36 months there, where you're able to get the approvals through, get the finance for it, be able to do the sales, and come out the other end a winner, right? So that's the other thing. So one, you don't get paid up front, and secondly, things take a long time. Things take a long time to happen. No one is in a rush other than you. No one is in a rush other than you, especially if you're going through council applications. And you know the council doesn't like it, or you got to massage and negotiate with council. That's pretty normal there. Adjust this, take that out, insert that, buyer retention, put in this driveway, put in this set of lights. So things take a long time. Things take a long time. And the third thing, as a developer, that can really suck is that you're at the whim of the market. You can be at the whim of the market if you don't know what you're doing and things are taking really long. If you started in 2007 and finished in 2009, you'd be absolutely bleeding where markets drop 10, 15, 20%. So being at the whim of the market, especially when you've got a lot of stock, you're exposed, you've got a lot of leverage there, whether it's debt, interest rates can go up as well. I think that's a big thing that people haven't really experienced if they're only in the game in the last 5 years or so, is that with interest rates being as low as they are, right, previously 2005, 2010, during that period, interest rates went up seriously, up to the 7, 8, 9, 10% mark, depending on if you're a low doc or if you're a mainstream lender. So you're at the really whim at the market, and that exposure, that volatility, if you haven't got a lot of cash, if you haven't got a lot of resources behind you, can send you broke, right? So a lot of developers during the GFC went broke because they were hugely exposed. They had a lot of debt and they didn't have the cash to pay for it. So that's a lot of what I learned. That's a lot of what I learned during the GFC, and that was my struggle. Right, I had a $5 million position roughly. I had 20 blocks of land that I'd bought off a developer, and that project took, instead of 12 months, it was meant to take 12 months. It took 18 or so months, and during that time, the market changed. Luckily on that project, I didn't have a lot of debt, but I did borrow money from investors to pay for the deposit for that particular project that I'd secured off the developer, off the plan. So that was my huge struggle, that, during that time, interest rates went up, developers were going bust, markets, prices were going through the floor there. We'd bought the blocks for $235 each, $235,000. We're on selling them for $270, $280, $290 a block, even $320 a block for some blocks. And we were on track for $1 million profit for these 20 blocks of land, which is bloody amazing, right? And I made some huge mistakes. I went out and I borrowed money for cars. I geared up, expanded my office. I put on new staff. I upgraded my wife. No, I'm joking. I didn't upgrade my wife. I upgraded everything with debt, and that was a huge mistake. And as projects took longer and longer and longer, I wasn't getting the cash flow to pay for it. And then the market turned, and then I had to just fire sale the blocks that we had, because we committed to this developer to buy these blocks off him. But the market had changed, and we still had to fulfill on our promises. Otherwise, we'd lose our deposit of, call it $470,000, I think it was. So, and that was just too much, because it wasn't even my money. It was myself, my business partners, investors' money, all up. So none of my personal money, investors' money there. we'd contributed that, and we just couldn't afford to drop that 400-500 grand worth of deposits, because that was just would have been a disaster. And then we would have had to fulfill on that $4.7 million commitment to that developer. So anyway, my point is that was my huge struggle in the GFC. And with those 3 key points that I've talked about there, I discovered a completely different way on how to do deals. I discovered a completely different way on how to do land developments, how to do property developments, and how to turn profits over quicker. And that's what I put into, my current webinar called Subdivision Secrets, Subdivision Secrets, like I mentioned there. And it is filled with all the gems that I figured out: how to buy wholesale, how to get the land so much cheaper, how to be a manufacturer of the profit and not pay builders the retail, not pay the land owners the retail, and create that profit for yourself. So that's what's in my Subdivision Secrets seminar and webinar, is how to do that, how to manufacture land and profit from scratch, right? And you don't have to have, a $5 million deep pockets to be able to do this. You don't need to be able to service big debts and big projects there. You can do it on very small projects, right? So my point is that all these secrets that I learned through the struggle and the breakdowns and the challenges I had through the GFC are in this 90-minute webinar. So check it out. Jump on the link below, and I really hope you get some value out of it. It's got some really cool gems in there. I've made sure that there's a lot of information there. So click on that, watch that now, and I look forward to working with you in the near future. Catch you later. You don't get paid up front. You get paid right at the end, after everybody else gets paid. Even the real estate agent gets paid before you do.